Hey! Welcome to Normal America Show, host robnoerr. I'm here, baby. Oh, what a night. What a night. Great to be with you all. Another fantastic night. Friday. You guys got big Friday plans? This is it for me. Tomorrow, my son has his first birthday party that he's going to that's not through someone that he's related to. So one of his classmates is having a birthday party. So we'll do the call-in show tomorrow at some point, and then after that, I'm going to go take my son to Walmart to pick out a toy for his classmate. I think he wants to get him something Godzilla-themed. So there you go. We'll get a Godzilla toy, and we'll be good to go. So, yeah. Should be a good day. Then I'm going to go with him. Me and my wife are going to go over to the party. Woohoo! Oh, my wife says, please check the phone. Okay. Wife, if you're listening to me, let's wait another day to do it. But yeah, that sounds fine. So, oh man, that is kind of gay. We've heard that. Oh, okay, never mind. Go for it, wife. Can we get to the politics? No, just because you asked Mr. X, we're gonna wait. How about that? What I normally do is stall for about 10 minutes until people come in because that's the way it normally goes. Then we'll get to the politics. So I promise we'll do 2.5 hours to 3 hours of politics. Now, tonight's show, we've got a lot to talk about. There's actually quite a few topics worth mentioning. January 6th pipe bomber is the premier one, and we'll go through it, and I'll give my take on what's going on with it. Give you a little taste this morning on the call-in show, but we'll talk more thoroughly about it here this evening. However, you see, I set my goal to $714. Now, for the astute of you, I haven't done this in a while, but, my normal goal is... Oh, man, $357. Well, $714 is double that. I did not stream last night, so we're going to try to make it an extra good show and make sure we at least get to that goal of $714. That's the plan. If we get to the goal of $714 and the audience wants, I will go over to Speakeasy's panel tonight, and I will debate whatever the topic is. And I'll wreck people, unless it's our good friend Wicked Wally and we're doing a horror movie debate. So, yeah, that's the plan. Of course, we got a couple super chats here to start, even before I came in. GG, thanks for the gifted membership, man. And Wade Boggs, $10 says, you got on some money first, otherwise the stream won't play. Not true, but a good mistruth to actually put out there. So, should be a lot of fun here tonight and hopefully informative. All the other shows I do, they suck. This one, though, this is going to be an awesome show. There's a lot to cover. There's other stories I want to cover. There's this insane, there's nature's big climate change paper from 2021. They've retracted. Looks like climate change is getting put in the back burner now that they need all that energy for the AI server space. Now it's not a big deal anymore. Oh, climate change. Oh, whoopsie daisy. Sorry, we tried to wreck the international economy and the United States economy, which led to transfers of wealth from the poor and working class to the upper class. Our bad. We were mistaken about that. Whoopsie daisy, right? That's number one. Number two, there's more on this Somalian fraud. And in addition to that, Trump, so far, some strong rhetoric about get these people out. So that would be nice if that comes through. And then another story that was crazy, it just goes to show you, I could spend 2.5 hours on this story alone. It's real quick. A man was arrested, a black gentleman was arrested for stabbing someone, and he was found not guilty. Has anyone seen this story? You want to know why the guy was found not guilty? Take a guess. Does anyone know why this black gentleman, why a jury would have found it? Just randomly. What's your guess? I'll give you a big clue. Oh, never mind. There it is. Because the N-word was said. But here's the kicker. This is the kicker of this story. Normally you hear someone uses an act of violence, a black man uses an act of violence, and then the excuse afterwards is, well, I had to because he used the N-word. This time, he stabbed the man, and then after the man was stabbed, he used the N-word. And still, a jury said, good enough for us. Now, I don't throw around racial epithets very often. It's not something that comes to me much. And there's certainly things that it would be uncouth to say about people. If someone stabs you, as far as I'm concerned, you could call them any name in the fucking book. Right? Can we agree? I don't give a shit, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever the fuck your ethnicity. Can we all agree to do a little detente on the clutching our pearls over shit people are saying for when someone stabs you? You go ahead and say what you want to say. That sounds reasonable, right? Sounds fucking reasonable to me. Who was it? Chris Rock used to have a funny bit about when it's appropriate to use the N-word. And he's like, let's say you screwed up your kid's Christmas present and you go and you wait in line and you finally at the last minute and the Christmas Eve, you get the present that your son really wanted and you're coming out of the store and then some black man robs you and takes your kid's Christmas present and all your stuff so that you won't be able to have Christmas for your son. Yeah, it's okay. You could go ahead and use the N-word there. And of course the joke is come on. At some point when people fuck you over enough, it's it does sound like a plot of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm not shitting you though. That guy, imagine that. I'd love to see the makeup of that jury. Yeah, it's Turbo Man. We all know in the extended cut, Arnold's calling Sinbad the N-word. Tons of stuff. That's right. Steal his kid's Turbo Man doll. So I guess that's it, right? I guess seeing as how blacks are 27 times more likely to commit a violent crime against a white, now all they have to do is as they were bleeding out in the street, they said the N-word. And the jury will be like, oh, well then. Feel free. What about the UK lady arrested for the F word? I don't know what the F word is. I assume homophobic slur. It's UK. They had something like 40,000 people arrested last year for saying the wrong thing. So, yeah, Arnold gets shanked by Sinbad in the director's cut. So, but we're not going to cover most of those stories. We're going to talk about the January 6th pipe bomber. By the way, I didn't title the video January 6th pipe bomber because I assumed that putting the word bomb in your title of your YouTube video probably not the best thing. So, we call it January 6th arrest, and we're going to dive in on what we know about this guy. And I'm going to give you a full context. Now, some of this is going to be a rehash because to me, it's important to set the stage for what happened here. So let's talk about what I'm not going to talk about first. Now, I believe Brian Cole I know Brian Cole's the name of the man who's been arrested. I believe he's 30 now, so he would have been 25 at the time. Of January 6th. He's arrested. Reports are, I don't know if this is true, that he's confessed. He said that he put the bombs there. There's still conflicting things about what his motivations were. We'll talk about that a little peripherally. It is entirely possible this guy is any number of things. Let's run the gambit of what this could be. It could be that this guy is a radical lefty Antifa person. It could be that he somehow has connections to a foreign government and or our own intel agencies or law enforcement. It could be that he's a Trump supporter. It could be that he's just like a weird anarchist Antifa guy. That's what the majority of the reporting showing. Or it could be that this is all bullshit. That he's not really the bomber and he's a patsy that's been set up by the FBI. All of those things are possible. We just don't know right now. I'm going to talk a little about the possible motivation, but just stories that we hear coming out and like pushing back on them a little. But it's too soon. Some things that are skeptical, though, is one, I'll be given the story the Blaze had with the gait analysis of the female cop that they were saying was the person that was the suspect. I'll be interested to see if they have those same experts weigh in on gait analysis with this guy who's confessed. I think that would be interesting, and if I was the Blaze, I would want to do that, given they might be in some hot water, given they're reporting and accusing someone else of doing this, and now someone different has pled guilty to the crime. Number two, it's odd how often these people are sort of ambiguous on their politics, and even more odd, how like so many of these people that engage in these acts had a very limited social media presence. Now, is that because the FBI gets word of it before they make their arrest and contact all the social media and delete it all? I don't know. I don't know. But you can't help but raise questions like, even boomers I know at this point, like older people in rural Pennsylvania here, they got like Facebook and shit. But so often it seems like, but we don't know much about this person. We just don't know. Given the amount of lies that our FBI has told historically, is it beyond them to set up a patsy? No, it's not. Even if the patsy at this point is allegedly some Trump hater or something like that. So, I don't know. I don't blame people for being skeptical. But at this point, it's not really my forte. And I don't have enough evidence to be skeptical at this point. So I'm not really here to cover much on what his possible motivations were. Like I said, we'll see more lately. It could be that he says his motivation was one thing and actually had a different and perhaps even opposite motivation. Talked about this a little this morning. But if I was going to do something real shitty and I wanted to blame someone, I might say, I'm doing this because I've been a secret Hillary Clinton fan. So that if I get arrested, people are like, oh, look, more left-wing violence. And I'm like, good, that's what. So I don't know. But I'm not really diving too deeply into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole with that stuff. What I do think that we could talk about is the failure of the FBI to catch this guy for 4 years. And sort of the double standard that set forth. That, to me, is the real story. It's clear that the FBI failed. Did they fail because of incompetence, or did they fail because they didn't want to succeed? I think the most likely scenario is corruption, that they didn't want to look into this because it didn't fit their narrative. That's what I believe. And so we're going to look at the facts of the case, the lead up to it, That's where I want to put the primary focus today. But before we get there, some super chats. I remind people again, if we get to our goal of 714 super dollars and people want, I will go over to Speakeasy's channel tonight and debate. Gravios, $5 says, black fatigue in this country and around the world is very real. Not even just black fatigue, but people of color that abuse leftist policy fatigue. Yeah, and look, I'm not trying to virtue signal, but I have many. I know quite a few black people that are not fucking tired of this shit too. They're happy to not live in the city. But that excuse is there. It's baked in. You want to talk about privilege? Anytime, if you're black, even if you're fucking awesome and a great dude, if you get caught speeding, you can fucking just be like, fuck it, throw that excuse out. Someone said the N-word, and everyone's like, oh, okay, shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. AJC, $50, unbelievable. Says, I love the Shane Gillis skit where he's a fireman, just got done saving a family in fire, and the reporter says, well, I heard you're a Trump supporter and a white supremacist, and we got a text message from your buddy saying derogatory words. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, there you go. You remember the story? There was this guy, it reminds me of this story. I can't remember the specific details, but this guy went viral for like something to do with drinking. And so he partnered with like Bud Light or Busch Light or whatever it was, whatever beer he had. And he raised like shitloads of money, like an absolute shitload of money for like local hospitals and stuff. And then they went through and they found like some shitty thing he said on social media when he was like a junior in high school. So they canceled the whole thing. And it's like, great job. You just canceled this fucking dude that was raising all this money for hospitals and shit. Sort of doing this humorous joke thing. But hey, he said something untoward when he was a junior in high school. So get him, right? And then Naughty Germ, $5. Thank you as always, my friend. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. So where to start? Well, I thought we would start here. This guy's a good follow on X, Technofog. If you haven't followed him, please consider. Always does a good job with corruption cases and things of that nature. Technofog says, from the pipe bomber FBI affidavit, the FBI tracked Brian Cole's bomb-making equipment purchases to Home Depot and Walmart. His cell phone was pinged in the area of the RNC and DNC on January 5th, 2021. His car is placed half a mile from the bombs on January 5th. The affidavit, during 2019-2020, Cole purchased multiple items consistent with components that were used to manufacture pipe bombs, placed at RNC and DNC. Cole used the accounts to purchase these items from physical retail locations in Northern Virginia, as described more in detail below. We'll just read the highlighted, but I'll put the link so you guys can read this yourself. Cole purchased a total of 12 black cap end caps and 2 galvanized end caps from 4 different Home Depots in Northern Virginia on or about the following dates: October 22nd, 2019, March 10th, June 20th, July 18th, and November 16th, 2020. Cole purchased 5 of the 9-volt distributor 9-volt battery connectors from Micro Center in Northern Virginia on or about November 12th and December 28th, 2019, including cash purchases made during the December transaction. Fewer than 2,000 of the 9-volt distributor of 9-volt battery connectors were distributed in the United States between December 17th or 2017 and January 2021. Both pipe bombs were manufactured using a white kitchen-style timer. Cole purchased 2 of these timers from Walmart in Northern Virginia on or about June 3rd, 2020. Provider records show that the Cole cell phone connected with provider cell phone towers consistent with cell phone being in the area of the RNC and DNC on January 5th, 2021. So his credit cards purchased the items used to make the bomb. His cell phone pinged at the exact time at the location the bomb was placed. Cole is a registered owner of a 2017 Nissan Sentra with a Virginia license plate. On January 5th, 2021, at approximately 7:10 p.m., Cole's Nissan Sentra was observed driving past the license plate reader at the South Capitol Street exit from Interstate 395 South, which is less than 1/2 mile from the location where the individual placed the devices was first observed on foot on North Carolina and New Jersey Avenues Southeast at 7:34. Approximately 5 minutes later, at 7:39, the Cole cell phone began to interact with the provider towers in the area. Now, what this is saying is his license plate, his cell phone, and his purchase records all showed that he was allegedly the person that did this. Now, this backs up reporting that I was seeing of people like Dan Bongino that said, we got no new information. None. In other words, 4 years under the Biden administration, they were unable to find this guy. And you're like, well, maybe someone came out. And this is how, like, a lot of serious crimes end up getting solved. You know, maybe there's a murder that occurs and police exhaust their resources. But then 10 years later, someone shows up and says, look, I have some information about an old murder. They get a tip. So at first I thought maybe that's what happened. But no, there was no tip. They literally just re-looked through the evidence of the Biden administration's FBI, and they were able to piece together enough evidence to make an arrest. Now, this evidence doesn't seem to be too Byzantine, right? It's like, here's a dude, and the type of car, or his car was seen near the area. When they look into everyone who was seen in the area, then once you get that, all the cars that were registered near the area that day, you start investigating. Sure, maybe it takes a year to investigate that many people. But once you do and you see records and you see purchase records, aren't you like, huh? And then when you see this car and then his cell phone data shows that he was in the area, huh? Doesn't that seem like that would be a person of interest? Now, here's the key. And this is what I want you to remember as we go through this whole thing. It's the double standard in how this was approached. Never forget. Let's see. I have the numbers here somewhere. This guy puts out. Chris Way had 13%. Go away. 13% of all FBI employees working on January 6 cases. That's 5,000 out of 38,000. Hunting people down all over America that were in D.C. on January 6. But he couldn't identify the pipe bomber who lived right outside of D.C. 5,000 agents. And they were going ham. They were doing things like investigating people, their hotel records that were in the area. They were going after people that weren't violent criminals that were there January 6th. But the guy that planted the pipe bomb, it was like, we can't do it. We can't get to it. Now, I can't stress this enough. I've said from the beginning that the most serious crime that was committed that day against law enforcement, against Congress, was the planting of the pipe bombs. That had the ability to cause mass casualties. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat that thinks January 6th the worst thing that's ever happened. As far as an individual committing a crime, someone punching police and breaking a window and vandalizing inside the Capitol and then running around is not as serious as someone planting pipe bombs there. Feet away from the incoming vice president. That was the biggest deal when it came to potential crimes from people in the crowd on January 6th. If you had to solve one crime that occurred on January 6th, if you're the FBI, this would be the one. This is where you put the bulk of the resources. In fact, let's assume that the FBI's sort of bias and they want to go after Trump and his supporters. There's a solid chance that the pipe bomb was put in collusion with people that were riding on January 6th. In other words, it could have been a Trump supporter. So why wouldn't you aggressively go after this? Why not? But it gets worse than that, as we'll see. You see, the truth, to quote one of the Epstein files, the dog that wasn't barking was the pipe bomber. People correctly pointed this out about Ray Epps. Now, I don't know if Ray Epps is a Fed or not, but one of the things that's the most suspicious is, seeing as how we have this guy on cam yelling at people the night before and the day of January 6th to go into the Capitol, why did none of the Democrats and their media lapdogs dislike this guy? In fact, they stood up for him. Even the New York Times wrote pieces, oh, his life's been ruined and he did nothing wrong. All the other January 6th people, they were gung-ho to go after. But just this one guy, they were like, no, he's sympathetic. It's the same, worse than that's the pipe bomber story. If I'm a Democrat and I want to make January 6th a big deal, I'm saying over and over and over, they planted a fucking pipe bomb and tried to take out Kamala Harris. This isn't just, a couple people got pissed off and a riot started on January 6th. This was pre-planned. Someone brought a pipe bomb. 2 of them. How in the world wasn't this the biggest story to come out of January 6th? Okay, sure. Trump's connections to it, fine. Trump. That's what it was all about. But you could even still say Trump and pipe bomb. Trump led to this shit. That's what they're trying to do now. So why was no one talking about it? Not the media, almost none of them. Not the media, not the FBI, not the January 6th committee. And I'm going to show you receipts. Where are we at? Let's do Kash Patel. Everything's disjointed and out of order of how I want to show it. So here's Patel, head of the FBI.
Based on the publication of the press conference, that yes, there were tips in there clues in there that we keyed in on, like the sneakers, like the height, like the appearance. And we refined those images. And we also used our brilliant CAS system. And what that is our cell phone analytic capability to go back and say, who was in the area? And also, why wasn't this discovered before? It's not like we recreated the cell phone data from 5 years ago. People just sat on it. And that's your point. They decided not to do anything. We took the opposite approach, and look where we are today. We arrested the January 6th pipe bomber.
Now, I understand everyone's slipping out. Oh, it's so simple. It's so simple. This was a contingency plan. All right, man. You guys nailed it. Hey, we'll see y'all. Thanks. Great show. Just kidding. Yes. I think that most likely that this was in connection, or I don't want to say most, there's a solid chance that this was done as an intentional part of sort of the agenda to make January 6th into a story that would be something that they would be able to aggressively go after Trump and censor his followers. Either A, the establishment had part in setting it up intentionally, or B, they were able to successfully exploit something that happened organically to be able to do that. I don't know anyone short of maybe Mike Benz or Capitol Chief's son that's been on this more than me. Yes. Over and over, when you look at the testimony of his son, he talks specifically about how this was done in a way that was different than almost every other investigation into history or every other big protest or big rally that's going to occur. As the person who's in charge of protecting the Capitol, normally, even if it's just a small rally, they have intelligence sharing and stuff that's far more extensive than what happened this day. He repeatedly tried to call the National Guard in both the day before January 6th and on January 6th, and he was stymied. So yes, it seems like the fact that the same people that didn't want to investigate that and basically Sun had to bother over and over again just to get into the building to be able to testify, probably the reason they're so quiet about the pipe bomb is it helped facilitate what they wanted. However, what I'm doing here is saying, look, if the story is as we're being told now, and this guy pled guilty, then we're trying to outline the case that there seems to be something interesting that's going on that suggests that there is either massive incompetence or what I believe corruption in how this played out. So just saying, for God's sakes, this was the contingency plan. Right. What I'm trying to do is go through the evidence to sort of talk about it, is what I'm trying to do. So, now, having said that, oftentimes what happens is when people are typing stuff, it comes across, doesn't have the tone. So maybe you're just getting to the point that I'm getting to. So, what was occurring with all of this beforehand? Oops, sorry. Wrong button. This is a 19-minute video. It's a long one. But I want to focus on two things. I want to focus on the January 6th committee, and I want to focus on the FBI. But first, I'm going to go to the restroom after we read some super chats. Elbows, thanks so much. $1. Thank you. John, GQ. $10 says, why'd they spend millions of taxpayer dollars on a C-SPAN trial series of January 6th featuring a nothing burger parade, but kept this one in the back pocket for 5 years? Exactly. And our good friend Everett, who's in the back, $10 says, fill the donut bar. I'm in the back. Oh, there he announced. He is in the back. So we'll give you a chair here for a minute. I'll be right back quickly, and we'll get to starting on this. All right. All right, let's do it. Get those super chats in. Remember, if we get to $714, our goal, and you guys want, I'll go over to Speakeasy's panel and debate tonight. All right, here we go. So first, dog that wasn't barking, the January 6th committee. Of course, it was led by a guy by the name of Bennie Thompson. And if you read a lot of the reports and the hearings from there, there's very little that was said about the actual pipe bombing.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for whatever questions he may have for the panel.
Thank you, Chairman.
This is Thomas Massie, who, by the way, is still untrusting of the official narrative here, that this guy acted alone. So here he is. He's going to question the head of the January 6th committee, Bennie Thompson.
Cole. Ranking Member Thompson, were you chairman of the January 6th committee?
Yes,
And what was the purpose of that committee?
to look at the facts and circumstances that brought about the actions of January 6th and make recommendations as to Congress and that it would not happen again.
And so it included things up to January 6th and also including the day of January 6th.
That's correct.
Is it true that the Secret Service cell phone records were deleted for that day on January 6th?
I'm not certain that all of them, we had difficulty with getting some of them.
Was your investigation hindered in part by the deletion of those Secret Service text messages?
We could have had a better and more thorough
We're going to raise the speed just a little.
report had we had access to all those records
When did you discover those messages were deleted?
during the course of the investigation.
Let's,
Chief of Communications for United States Secret Service on accusation. was well underway.
I want to get to the pipe bomb, but yes, of course, we saw that there were messages from the Secret Services that were deleted, even though it was against departmental roles. This was deleted during the Biden administration. And yet, seemingly, the January 6th committee, even though it was against rules, no reprimands, they didn't really seem to care.
Who kept you from getting access? The
Well, to be
four committees of Congress gave a preservation notice, and the Secret Service deleted those communications. That's obstruction of Congress. I think we should still be looking into that, regardless of when we found out about it, and frankly, regardless of who the president is. But it seems to me that Mayorkas hasn't done anything about this. And according to the Secret Service, let me ask you, let me tie this back. Who is responsible on January 6th? Who was responsible for the health and well-being of the incoming vice president?
of the
Incoming, this would be Senator Kamala Harris at the time. She was under the protection of them.
Well, obviously, Secret Service.
Correct, the Secret Service. So where was she on January 6th while all this was going on over at the Capitol?
I don't know.
Do you know there were pipe bombs allegedly present on January 6th?
I know there were two pipe bombs, one at the Democratic headquarters and one at the Republican.
So you're in charge of the entire investigation of what happened on January 6th and what led up to January 6th, and you don't know that the vice president was in the incoming vice president was in the DNC when that pipe bomb was sitting there.
I don't, we did not,
Now, do you understand? Of all the things that Bennie Thompson and the January 6th committee hyperventilated about, the fact that there was a bomb mere feet away from the building that Kamala Harris was in, the incoming VP, and they know nothing about it. They're just like, not only do they know almost nothing about it, they just don't give a shit. Oh, well, how can that be? Now, you might say, well, me and you, the average person, you don't have all the details of looking into all this stuff, so you can't expect even a member of Congress. Hell, maybe you could even give the maximum benefit of the doubt and say, well, you can't expect even the chair of the committee to know all of the details. But can we all admit, whether it be for purely partisan political reasons because they're exploiting this, which is what I believe, or if you're on the perspective of you hate Trump, the most important thing was how fearful our Congress people were at this insurrection. In both cases, why the fuck wouldn't he be talking about that? Why wouldn't they know the details of that? And he has almost no clue. Listen, let's keep going.
investigation was looking at the facts and circumstances. We knew that there were pipe bombs. I'm sure the evidence will say she was wherever she is, but, I'm trying to get to your point.
Okay, well, my point is, if this bomb had gone off just a few feet from her, this could have been the worst assassination since JFK. And I looked at your January 6th report, and can you tell me what you wrote about this pipe bomb and the fact that she was almost blown up that day?
The gentleman,
Not right now.
No, it's in the report in terms of the submission. It's not in the 850-page document.
So you guys your committee did investigate the pipe bomb or did not investigate the pipe bomb?
Well, I'm trying to figure out, we're not a criminal investigation. We are.
So all the grandstanding of the January 6th commission, right? And they barely put anything in their final report at all. And then when the head of the January 6th committee, he's like, well, we're not criminally looking into shit. All the details they had in there about the wrongdoing that occurred that day. And somehow, this escaped them. Now, this is from February 5th, 2024. No, a bomb didn't blow up. There was a bomb placed outside. Take a minute. Here's the mistake that everyone's making. We have to do this again. Here's the mistake you're making. Fauci's team says masks don't work Don't go buy them. Then a week later, Fauci's team says masks do work and you should all be mandated to wear them. And everyone goes, actually, masks don't work. The point is, based on the narrative that Fauci is telling us, then he intentionally told people not to go get this life-saving equipment. Yes, from the perspective of people that are like, this is all bullshit. These bombs were never intended to go off. It's all big fucking hoax. January 6th itself was just a bunch of bullshit that was, yes, from your perspective, I see it. But from the perspective of the left, that's like, this was the worst day since Pearl Harbor, the fucking bombs would be the worst thing. That's the point. And somehow they're like,
You know, we were an oversight body looking at the facts and circumstances. We were not a criminal body to see who laid the bomb or anything like that.
Okay, I'll give you that, but here's, it seems like a lot of criminal indictments came out of your,
Correct.
The result of your investigation. But here's my concern. So we unearthed a video, I don't know if you've seen it, when that second pipe bomb is found. And the Secret Service, it's a videotape of the DNC, and a person who doesn't have a uniform on,
Sorry,
who told
Achilles.
Capitol Hill police
You're
officer,
not the-
found that bomb.
other people are
walked
thinking
over
that.
to incoming Vice President Kamala Harris's detail, told them there was a pipe bomb. Now, I believe that to be true because I've since talked to the Capitol Police and talked to one of the people on the scene that day. They went over and told the Secret Service detail there was a pipe bomb there. On this video, about 4 minutes elapsed before the Secret Service responds. This is why I'm interested. I know you were very interested at one point in the deletion of these Secret Service text messages, but this is why I am interested. And I would have thought the January 6th committee would have been interested in the two most threatening weapons that were present on January 6th that day. But what happens is a police officer without a uniform on, but must have been known as a police officer to the Secret Service, tells the Secret Service, there's a bomb over here. It takes them 4 minutes for the Secret Service to respond. It takes them 10 minutes to evacuate Kamala Harris, and this bomb is maybe 15 feet from the building that she's in. And this is why I wonder if you're still the least, a bit curious about why Secretary Mayorkas has not followed up on the deletion of all these Secret Service texts. Does it bother you that they deleted them?
Well, it bothers me that we did not have access to all the tapes, but it also is within the purview of the OIG. And we don't have any say-so as.
Now, I was looking for the other video here as well that I'm about to show. Now, there you have it. The January 6th committee didn't really give a shit about the pipe bomb. Why? Well, they weren't a criminal investigative body, and yet they talked about a litany of crimes that occurred on January 6th. Just not that one for some reason. Why? I'm looking for the video I want to show next, so bear with me for a minute. It's so hard to find this stuff. There we go. That's what we want. So you can see the January 6th committee wasn't that interested. For some reason, just not that interested. Now, what about the FBI? What about the Secret Service? Well, we'll get to more of the FBI in a second. What about law enforcement that day? This is the actual footage we have of when the pipe bomb outside the DNC was found. Now, I've showed this before, but what I want you to focus on is why do all of the people supposedly concerned, whether it be people in law enforcement, people in intel agencies like the FBI, people that were investigating in the capacity of Congress in the January 6th committee, seemingly none of them gave a shit about the pipe bomb. Why? Again, with this, we'll speed up a little. You can see the timer there. This guy walking right here Wouldn't you believe it? That's going up to this police car. That's an off-duty police officer. And he's telling him, I just saw something, suspicious package. Now that, in the vehicle next to the police car here, is Secret Service, whose security detail is the incoming Vice President of the United States. So this guy, right off screen, and you'll see it, it'll move there, right off screen's the actual bomb under a park bench. So this guy, look at the time, 1:05:35. We sped it up a little here, but you can see. So he's talking to him. See, he's pointing back. Yeah, I think I just saw something under this bench. Again, mighty coincidence that this happens to be an off-duty officer that sees this suspicious package. Okay, so he goes, he reports it to police. He doesn't stick around to see what's going on. Goes, talks to the cop on the other side. Quite friendly with them. Remember, now we think that there's a suspicious package. Now, this isn't one. So we already know, at this point, even before January 6th, you knew tempers were going to flare on the day of January 6th. You knew people were heated. So now you see a suspicious package right outside where the DNC is situated. He makes law enforcement aware of it. There's no sense of urgency whatsoever from this guy. Okay, fair enough. He's just someone who's walking by and says, hey, you should check in on this. Now, surely law enforcement and the Secret Service is going to have a sense of urgency, right? So here you see it's 1:06:08. So it's been over a minute since they were, let's go back. So there he's telling him at 1:05:34. Still talking to him. Notice people are walking right by where the bomb is. Now he's going to talk to the Secret Service. Hey, there's a package over there under that bench. Yeah, you guys should probably check that out, says this off-duty cop. Probably something to that effect. Okay, now he walks back past the package. You can see his head was turned. He was looking at it. Pedestrians walking by. Now let's go, when he leaves, we'll say roughly 1:06:30 seconds. Now let's watch and see how long it takes the Secret Service and law enforcement, after they've just been told that there's a suspicious package, let's see how long it takes them to do something. There's a pedestrian standing there. All right, 30 seconds. They're still in their vehicles. All right, maybe they're calling it in. And we're still sitting here. All right, car door opens about a minute after they've been told that there's a possible bomb. Take our time to get out about a minute. Now let's do a little stretching. Yeah. Shooting a breeze. Secret Service still in their car. Yeah, let's go back in the car. Minute and a half. Now we're at a minute and a half. And now we're going to waddle over here. All right. All right, now we're at basically 2 minutes since they were first informed. You see another pedestrian walk by? All right, now they walk up. Now the Secret Service is getting out. About two and a half minutes. Oh, now look. At this point, it's clear that the camera operator was made aware of the suspicious package. So it's about 2 minutes and 40 seconds after. That's going to be it. It's under that bench there. Okay? So the camera operator is looking for it. Now, at this point, law enforcement knows the exact location of it. The camera operator is trying to find it. And you'll see that they're not preventing pedestrians from walking right in front of the bomb. We're just going to stand around. Yep. And here comes some more pedestrians right in front of the bomb. They're not trying to prevent cars from going by. They're not preventing people from walking by. There. He took a picture of it. Waves. Now they're into action. Takes about 4 minutes. Why? Why was there no sense of urgency? Again, they let civilians cross in front of what they thought was a suspicious package and later identified as something to be targeted. But what about the FBI? What did they have to say about this? Who was the agent that was in charge of the pipe bomb investigations? Anyone know? I can never pronounce his name correct. Steve D'Antonio. You may remember him as the lead agent from the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping hoax. Here we have Greg Price says, in 2023, Steve D'Antonio, who was then assistant director of the FBI field office in D.C. and after January 6, testified to the House Judiciary Committee that the cell phone data of the January 6 pipe bomber had been corrupted by one of the providers. According to the Brian Cole Jr. arrest affidavit, the FBI used data from his cell phone provider to track him to the vicinity of the RNC and DNC on the night of January 5th. It seems very likely that D'Antonio, who went on to lead the FBI's effort to round up all the January 6 protesters, lied to Congress about the cell phone data. Here he is. We did a complete geofence. We have complete data. Not complete, because there's some data that was corrupted by one of the providers, not purposely by them, right? It's just unusual circumstance we have corrupt data from one of the providers. Now, when this story broke, you remember, the cell phone providers all came out and said, no, all the data's good. It's all good. So why is the FBI testifying, even though we have footage of the alleged pipe bomber on the phone from the night before, you have the exact location, the cell tower that would have been pinged, should be easy to get the data. And they're like, well, the problem is the data's corrupted. The cell wouldn't you believe it? Wouldn't you believe it? Just like it was bad luck that Secret Service deleted their phones and stuff. It's also just bad luck that the cell data was not our fault, but the cell providers, their data was corrupted. The cell provider's like, no, it's not. And now we find out, without any new data, allegedly, Kash Patel's FBI was able to solve the crime. In addition, there was reports that the actual footage that was released of the pipe bomber that the FBI released was intentionally not cleaned up to make the to make it blurrier than it elsewise needed to be. Gets better. This is from the House report on the pipe bombs. Despite contrary statements from telecommunication providers, the FBI claims it could not complete a geofence or use cellular data to identify the suspect because it received corrupted data. During its investigation, the FBI identified at least 5 different instances in which security camera footage revealed the suspect appearing to use a cellular device. As a result, the FBI issued search warrants or separate warrants to multiple telecommunication companies, including the 3 major cell providers and blank, in the days before January 5th, or in the days following January 5th. The FBI's warrants requested cellular and blank account data associated with mobile devices in the areas around the RNC and the DNC on January 5th. Following January 6th, the FBI identified security footage showing the suspect using a cellular device on multiple occasions. As a result, the FBI took significant investigative steps, including issue search warrants to a major technology companies in an effort to identify the suspect through the use of his or her phone. From this information, the FBI derived credible leads, the outcomes of which are largely remain unknown. In response to questions about the FBI's inability to identify the suspect using cellular data, one former senior FBI official blamed cellular companies for providing corrupted data. To date, the FBI has refused to comply with multiple requests from the subcommittees regarding this claim. Now, I want you to see where we're at. The FBI, which our Congress is supposed to have oversight over, they say, well, we know, American people, that you've seen footage of the alleged pipe bomber on a cell phone. So we know the location of that. We know the time of that. We subpoenaed the telecommunication companies because that's something we have the capabilities to do. And so you would say, well, surely we could get the data from this phone, right? No, because the data's corrupted, they said. Then the telecommunication companies were like, no, the data's not corrupted. So the House committees that were led by Republicans in like 2024 are like, okay, FBI, can you come in to clarify? And they're like, no, we can't. Nope. Do you see the absurd? So not only does it seem like they actually had the data from the cell phone that was necessary to catch this guy, they told us this bullshit story that, wouldn't you believe it? Of all the times for data to just randomly be corrupted, it was this one time. Oh boy. Then the companies are like, no, the data's not corrupted at all. We have it. And then the House is like, oh, okay, FBI, what do you have to say to that? And they're like, nothing. And then we later find out the data wasn't corrupted and it was there to be able to catch this guy. Good point. Now, to me, this is the biggest story. We repeatedly see that these mistakes are always made in the same direction. The FBI accidentally got illegal FISA warrants to go after Trump, saying, whoops, our bad. Every time they fuck up a story, investigation, etc., it's always to the detriment of Trump and to the benefit of his opponent. Every time. And now, which is the single biggest crime that was committed on the day of January 6th, the planning of explosives that could literally have killed not only the incoming VP, but potentially hundreds of people, including members of Congress. Everybody's just like, no big deal. The FBI feeds us this bullshit story. The data's corrupted. We can't do anything about it. Turns out that wasn't the case. So what's the story here? The FBI needs to be scattered to the wind. It is corrupt beyond belief. Corrupt beyond belief. The idea that we're just supposed to believe, the Biden team that was going the biggest investigation in FBI history, no stone unturned, going after blue-haired meemaws that were, in the words of Norm Macdonald, walking in between the velvet ropes in Statutory Hall. Oh boy, no expense paid. They went after them. They got them. But the pipe bomber? I don't know. That sounds hard. We don't want to do that. January 6th committee. They didn't really care. Hell, even law enforcement and Secret Service, the day the pipe bomb was found, they seemed to not really give a shit. Huh. Was it that law enforcement was involved and knew, had prior knowledge of the planning of the pipe bomb? Maybe someone within law enforcement helped set it up. Maybe they knew of the potential bomb the night before and said, hey, this will achieve our goals. Maybe none of that's true. Maybe they thought, this doesn't really fit our narrative. We have an idea of who this guy is, but it doesn't fit our narrative of it. This was a white supremacist attack. Whatever the reason, every single person, Republican and Democrat, should demand answers like, what the fuck happened? There's a lot of people out there today that are like, this is a Trump supporter. This guy supported Trump. He thought the election was stolen. Okay, let's run with that for a second. Aren't you concerned that the FBI did nothing to get this guy for 4 fucking years? Sounds like an unhinged MAGA lunatic. What if he would have went out and used explosive devices later to attack members of Congress or Democrats again? Doesn't that piss you off? And yet the Democrats aren't concerned. Go ahead. Find one. Find a prominent Democrat today that's out there like, what the fuck? We demand answers from the FBI. What happened? Find one. And yet they're out there telling you, well, this was a Trump supporter. Maybe so. Here's Democrat Senator Mark Warner. He's the only guy I know that's a Democrat that was out there actually saying, why did it take so long? Listen. So you got to tip your cap when it's due. Mark Warner, Democrat senator, you're about to hear it, and he's going to tell you about it's ridiculous that it took. Why did it take so long? Listen.
But I got to tell you, it kind of makes me, looking at this crowd doing a victory lap, when all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes, when in some field offices up to 45% of the FBI officers who are doing things like counter-espionage and cyber have been assigned to do immigration cases. It's a little rich that they're saying they're America's safer. How much earlier could we have caught this guy if resources hadn't been diverted? And I hope it would also remind folks that on January 6th, I was here at the Capitol on January 6th. It was an ugly, awful day. And this administration and this president basically pardoned all the perpetrators. You know, it's that kind of picking and choosing of facts from this crowd that makes me a little bit crazy. Now to the question of...
Listen again.
When all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes, when in some field offices up to 45% of the FBI officers who are doing things like counter-espionage and cyber have been assigned to do immigration cases, it's a little rich that they're saying they're America's safer. How much earlier could we have caught this guy if resources hadn't been diverted?
You see, why did it take so long? Trump administration. Ah! You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. So now, the only Democrat senator that's like, why did this take so long? Is like, yeah, why did it take so long for the Trump administration? For his FBI. Not the fucking Democrats that were just there for 4 years. Not Chris Wray. He hasn't, well, why did it take them so long? He says, well, the Trump administration diverted resources. They have the FBI working on things like immigration. Okay, if that's the argument, then how do you explain the fact that all of these resources were there under the Biden administration and they had no success? How do you explain that? Mark Warner does not give a shit. Now listen, we're not even a year into a Trump presidency. Here's the thing. I'll criticize Trump when it's warranted, and I think he's taken too much time to do a lot of things that I would like to see. I want to see him ramp up the speed of deportations. I want to see him doing actions to go after the corrupt people in these institutions. But only not even a quarter away into his presidency. And fuck Pam Bondi, I don't like her at all. Kash Patel's been a big disappointment. But let's be honest, when you come into this position, it takes some time. You got to go through the process, the onboarding process, all of that shit. There's other stuff that they're working through. Having this solved, allegedly, if this is what happened, in under a year, isn't the worst time frame in the world. Especially when the other side had 4 years and did nothing. In fact, worse. They made excuses and said, well, data's corrupted. We can't do anything. And now that's what Democrats are going to focus on? Well, Trump's team could have done this sooner. They could have done it sooner. How could you not be like, if you're a Democrat, if you believe that January 6th was such a horrible day, and you believe that this guy was like some Trump supporter, how could you not be furious that the FBI allowed this guy on the streets for 5 years? And yet none of them are. None of them. Not even the people, your random posters online. Not even the commentary class, the people I debate all the time. I haven't seen one of them. Not one of them question. They'll just say, well, they tried their best, you know. This is just a conspiracy theory that they intentionally didn't want to solve it. But you got the talking heads, they're on it now. Jake Tapper covered it. That's nice. Jake, tell us a little about the alleged pipe bomber.
Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce.
Let's hear that again. Now, obviously, CNN didn't have this picture. There's your picture of the alleged pipe bomber, Brian Cole Jr. How does Jake Tapper describe him?
Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting
a 30-year-old white man. Here he is. Hey, it goes in line with how many times do we see suspects of color arrested in their mugshots and they're listed as white for their ethnicity? And who could blame Jake anyways, even beyond that? After all, we were told over and over again that this was white supremacist attacks. So surely the person that did the worst thing that day, put a pipe bomb, must be white, right? It's all so tiresome. Then, of course, you have the narrative, well, this guy did it because he was pissed off about the election being stolen. Krasenstein. Brian Cole Jr. was a Trump supporter. Did Trump's fight like hell comments radicalize him? Anyone see the problem with this? Can you see the glaring problem with Krasenstein's question here? Is anyone? Do you think there's a chance that Trump at the ellipse saying fight like hell? You think there's a chance that radicalized this guy? Right! The speech at the ellipse was on January 6th. This guy planted the bombs on January 5th. Wow, Trump's really fucking good. Not only can he dog whistle as he's saying go be peaceful to his audience that he wants them to be violent, and they pick up on it. In addition to that, he's able to give speeches that people days before have clairvoyance to know what he's going to say. In addition, you had a lot of other people saying, well, this guy got radicalized because he thought the election was stolen. And yet, I showed you the affidavit. He started purchasing materials to make these bombs in 2019. Now, this is going to blow your mind, but the election wasn't until November 2020. I want someone to explain to me. And I know what it's going to be. It's always the same. Make no mistake. Here's going to be the excuses that you get, right? From all of the fucking establishment, FBI. Here's the truth. I'll tell you what the truth is, and then I'll tell you what their excuse is going to be. The reason that people, particularly on the left, particularly Trump haters, don't ever have anything but the worst or the most fucking vapid lip service. Oh, yeah, I don't like that the FBI did that. The reason that they don't have much ever to criticize these organizations about is because they like the corruption. Because it benefits their side. If in 2008, Barack Obama wins the election and he's coming in and goes, there needs to be serious reforms with our intel agencies and the FBI on the Patriot Act and other such things. Our intel agents sometimes act with authoritative power that the Constitution did not imply. We need to hold those accountable that have weaponized this at these intel agents, right? If he'd have gave that speech after he won the election before he was sworn in, and at that point, someone like John McCain would have went on like Sean Hannity and said, whoa, Obama, you can't say that. You can't say that because the FBI is going to find 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. I would have been like, wait, what? What was that? Barack Obama, the president that I had no love for, even back then in 2008. But he has to be fearful and can't criticize the intel agencies that he's supposed to be the boss of because they'll fuck him over? I would have been like, this is outrageous. How can we have a country where the top intel and law enforcement agency is more powerful than the boss? This is some J. Edgar Hoover shit. Is the FBI really running amok that much? No wonder there's no oversight. If the president, who's in charge of the executive branch, has to be fearful of them, then clearly Congress members that have oversight over the FBI are going to be scared shitless to do anything. You can't have a country like that. You can't have a country where the strongest intel agency and law enforcement is running amok, and every elected official that's supposed to have oversight over them is like, well, shit, we can't say anything or do anything because they'll get us. We'll become their target. And yet, Almost no Democrats gave a shit when Chuck Schumer said that. He just said it matter-of-factly. By the way, it was true. It's one of these worst-kept secrets. Yeah, they all know it. Of course, you can't aggressively go after the FBI. They're going to go digging for skeletons in your closet, and they'll just make some shit up. So you just let it go. Same with the CIA, etc. The intel agencies. That happened, and almost no Democrats gave a shit. And of course, that's exactly what happened. They've been investigating Trump for fucking 9 years now? The truth is the Democrats didn't raise their voice because they're like, good, get that fucker, get Trump. They're just too cowardly to tell you. That's how they feel. They're going to keep it to themselves. They'll, oh, no, we would never want the FBI to intentionally target the president like that. No, we wouldn't want that. So? When you see, why is it that Ray Epps was like the only dude that Democrats seem to celebrate? Why is that? Well, because they see utility. Regardless of what Ray Epps is, the little people that the influencers and shit, they take their cues, even if they're not spoken, they're just implicit, from the people at the top. Now, the people at the top of the Democratic Party is like, no, this guy's good. Maybe he really was a Fed, Ray Epps. Maybe he wasn't, but they were like, well, here's something that we could bait the right to talking about, and then we could say, see, look how bad they are. So all of a sudden, all of the January 6th people that they said was so dangerous, and oh my gosh, it was so horrible. The one guy that we have on camera 2 nights in a row telling people to break into the Capitol, they're like, he's great. This guy's a great man. The New York Times doing puff beats on him. Why? Now, does the lefties I'm debating know that this guy was a Fed? Do they know that this guy's... No, they don't know that. But they take their cues and they're like, oh, we're circling the wagons around this Ray Epps guy. Fine. Same shit here. What's that? Democratic politicians are like, nothing to see here with why Chris Wray's FBI didn't do shit for 4 years on this case? Okay, that's what we'll say too. We'll say the same thing. Great. Didn't cooperate with Congress, the FBI. Drug their feet like they always do with oversight. Seems to be some tension between the fact that the FBI is testifying, oh, the cell data was corrupted. The cell providers are like, no, it wasn't. And now it seems that the cell providers likely were telling the truth, given that the next administration, their FBI, without any new evidence, is able to solve it. So there's going to be a lot of talk about, well, what were this guy's motivations? Was he a secret Trump supporter? Blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to happen. I'm not really focused on that today. There's going to be a lot of talk about whether Trump's pardon applies to this guy. A lot of it. But what you're not going to hear is the media saying, what the fuck happened? Why did the FBI, in this most serious case, let this slip through their fingers when they went so aggressively after other people? Why did the January 6th committee not give a shit? That's what's going on. All right. Now's the time on the channel where we grift. Keena apologetically says you're all robots with no feelings. So, All you bots out there, make sure to get your donos in. Let's show this Keena person. Let's show this Keena person the quality of bots that we are. Narrative, ma'am, $10 says Netflix brought Warner Brothers. Next Batman movie's on Netflix. Batman marries Robin. Robin transitions. Catwoman gets an abortion.
Now, I have a proposal for the audience. Now, I showed robnoerr this one thing, but little does he know, I would never work on a project for myself if I didn't finish one for Rob. So I have a hidden robnoerr project that has been hidden away in the back burner. If we can get that bar at least 50%, I will show you the unedited robnoerr Clarion special I have. Yeah, that's right. I said it. A robnoerr Clarion special. He doesn't even know about it. Yeah, see, he doesn't even know about it. Get the bar to 50%, and I'll bring it out. He doesn't even know.
So keep the donos coming in, dono bots. Thank you. Next, we got Perry Incorporated. $5 says it seems awfully suspect to me that the FBI would claim corrupted data. Awfully convenient. Here's some money for the debate panel. Thank you. Remember, if we get to the $714, I will go over to Speakeasy's channel and debate a little on the panel tonight. But we got to get to that goal of 714 before we go over there. Yeah.
We get halfway, and I'll give you a special.
And we got Chip Boggs. Thanks for being a member. The great Robert Whaley, $10 says, gosh dang it, Rob and Lost Avarice. I was singing the robnoerr Show theme song all day today. You're both on my shit list. Yeah, it'll do that. Elbows, another $1. Thank you. Hunter Killer, $5 says, I really appreciate you talking about January 6th issues soberly without delving into a lot of conspiracy mongering. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you. Look, here's the thing. I have no begrudging of people that want to delve in a conspiracy-focused way in this. That's perfectly fine. But it's not really what my forte is. And I'm trying to look at the evidence that we have that's publicly available and say why things don't add up. So I don't need to delve too far into that. That's what I usually try to do. Robert Whaley, 5 gifted subs. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And Witzius, $2 says, January 6th was a psyop. Yes. It happened, but it was blown out of proportion. 714 is highly reasonable. You bastard. So, oh, yeah, the sprocket. No one, man, you're really dating yourself with the sprockets reference there. Perry Incorporated, $5 says, bro, if you got rid of that Avarice guy, he's real problems. Got real problems. Oh. I like him. Premonition, $2 is trying, buddy. No problem, man. Thank you. Meanwhile, Keena, would you like to call in? Keena apologetically, or Keen apologetically. Would you like to call in? You have a lot to say with your own caps. You said we're in a cult. What happens in people's bedrooms, none of our business.
Take me to your leader, cult of robnoerrian. I am multi number one.
No evidence other than evidence of what? What are you yelling about? You just come in, like, so many of these people do this. They just come in. You're all weak debaters. I bet you can't win a formal debate with resources and evidence. I qualified for the national debate tournament. I was one of the best debaters in the country in college.
That was just said. Did you see what that lady said? You can't debate with evidence, Rob.
Yeah, we will debate Mel Pandora. I don't know what that is. What the fuck is Mel Pandora? What are you speaking in riddles? Anyways, more super chats. Witzius gives 10 memberships. Thank you so much. Oh, and then look at this. Stand Up and Paddle Animal Rescue. $5. Robulators. Oh, shit. That's one of my favorite songs. Regulators. Robulators. Mount up.
Don't worry.
Wait till you see
what I have in store for you. You should be a little scared, Rob. Like internally.
I am a little scared.
Yeah.
Say again, Mel Pandora. Oh, it's an advert. Is that what it is? Someone just coming in starting shit to try to clout chase. I got it. Blasterbot, $10 says, Larfleas D's nuts. Oh, wow. D's listen, if you're promoting a different channel, that's no problem whatsoever. Surely you'll call in, smack me around and debate, and then everyone's going to be like, hot damn, we should check out the channel this person's talking about. Right? That's how you would expect that to go. Just throwing that out there. Zach Gilpy, $20 says, here's my nightly tithing to the leader of our cult of truth and righteousness. Oh, thank you.
Fantastic.
We are just in a cult here, apparently.
Zach Gelpy, everybody.
Yes, Zach. It's great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in this morning as
I
well.
would know a lot about cults, so we must be in one because, I mean, I'm an expert on cults.
I just don't like the whole cult thing. It's like, yes, cults notoriously telling people like stay offline as much, get families and friends in real life, be a good father and husband. You know, that's notoriously what cults do, as opposed to stay away from your family, just focus on us, don't go see other people in real life. Yeah,
How dare you?
what a nefarious cult we are. Like,
We
it's so
proudly we pride ourselves on blue collar men.
It's so stupid. It really is. It's surreal. Let's see. Where was I at here? Oh yeah. We got the I got another clip to go along with this from the great Mike Benz, but we're going to wait until we get to at least 35% of the super chat before I move on.
I really want us to get to 35%.
Well, you want us to get to 50%. So you can...
I do want us to get to 50. I'm actually really excited for us to get to 50%. I was actually working on this for about 2 days.
No shit. I'm unaware of any of this. I know that
because I would show you my stuff, but why would I show you something for you without the audience getting involved?
Oh, JBL or JLT, I'm sorry, over on Rumble. $10 says kick-ass show, Rob. Thanks for signing my chessboard in Nashville. Of course. Great party and good speaking with you, brother. Keep fighting the good fight. God bless. Thank you, man. And then Mangozi, $5 says, it was good to see you too, Chair. Oh. See, the Rumble crew loves the Chair. They love it. By the way, Rumble guys kicking ass. We got 48 people watching over on Rumble right now, which is amazing. So thank you so much to everyone over there. It's amazing how much Twitch has fallen off once they decided to throttle me because I debated Connor, who used a homophobic slur 12 times. Ever since then, my Twitch presence is... how are we going to do with 50% plus jobs being replaced by robotics and AI? Does anyone else see this? Well, two things. Yes. One, there's a chance that robotics will displace a lot of people. That's certainly something that'll happen. However, I think that you'll see that other jobs will come in. This is the same sort of thing that we would hear from other technologies that came in and replaced people. For example, you could have said the assembly line and a lot of robotics we saw with it going into the 70s were going to replace people, right? I don't think that it's going to replace 50%. That is a gross overestimation. That 50% of the jobs in this country are going to be lost in the next 2 to 3 years due to robotics. That's not accurate.
No, and what would happen, and we read this because remember the book we just had, we bought it together from our new friend, The Road to Babylon. They even says that like it's really just cutting out middle management jobs, which isn't even a high percentage, right? Where it's going to just add more to the like the people harvesting the energy and building the infrastructure and working on the tools.
Jay like crypto. Thanks so much. $5 is loving the show tonight. Stay paced, of course. So I got more to cover on this and other stories. But we just need to get to that goal, 35% of our goal. The technology they're replacing is human intelligence. It's a little different. Now listen, it's always true that we have to be concerned that technology is going to displace workers in different fields. That's certainly true. I think the best way to do that is to bring back manufacturing in the United States, push forward aggressively. I think that's one of the things we could do. We could also understand that a lot of the trades are more important than ever. For example, we have a housing crisis. One of the things we're told is, well, we need illegal immigrants here to build the houses because if we don't have the illegal immigrants, then we don't have the labor to build the houses. We are not going to shortly see AI replace carpenters or welders or people of that nature. So, Sex bots will rule. I hope not.
I hope not either. That's a
I'll be
horrible-
married anyway, so I don't much give a shit. Do you think they intentionally make electric cars sound like spaceships in the Jetson? No. That's too old of a reference. I'm sure they'll make it sound like The Acolyte or some shit like that. You know, something that stand up and paddle animal rescue, $5 says, time to put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner. Oh. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So you think you're going to be around long enough for the air bike that I've been seeing going around?
I plan on living another 35 years, so sure.
Yeah, you think we're gonna have functional air bikes when we're
I
older?
don't much give a shit. I'll be an old curmudgeon. Like
Like
they're
a rocking
gonna
chair.
have self-driving cars, and I'm be like, I don't know about all this shit. You know?
I don't trust it.
Yeah, yeah.
What, your thumbprint on the door handle?
Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I bumped what I wanted to.
I totally saw
Okay.
you do that.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I totally did.
Oh yeah, you could see in the. Yeah, I do that shit all the time. Then I gotta find it. More wage suppression. People will flood into jobs that have been. Yeah, well, if we kick all the illegals out, then it won't be an issue or as much of an issue, will it? And I don't see effective carpenters coming from the people that were, you know, artists and shit like that necessarily. So, yeah, see, college educated carpenter can't afford me. That's not true. Nah, that's probably true. All right. Let's check over on who's over on Speakeasy's channel. See if I could chum people in that's debating right now. Anyone that'd be fun. Our friend Teriak, Abe Dinkus.
JS should be there because I know that he was
No.
talking about it.
No, that's it. That's all I see over there right now. So,
Oh.
Bandit, $2 says, get your air bike off my lawn. Rob, probably. Yes, we try. All right. Well, the donos aren't coming in. So, I'm just going to keep covering this. I'm going to cover the story I was talking about. But I implore you, keep getting donos in. You called my bluff. The great Mike Benz, he's going to talk about, was it incompetence from the FBI? Let's hear what he says.
That one of the early evolving narratives here is FBI incompetence under the Biden administration. There's no fucking way it's incompetence.
Now, look what he has here, his document. Pipe bombs were highlighted in 40% of all January 6 articles in the first 3 months. Out of 12,500 stories versus just 3% of all January 6 articles for the first 3 months. In January and March 2021, bombs are the core element. Keep listening.
It was an open cover-up. They gave us fake doctored footage. And they hid the evidence, and they pulled people off the case. That is not incompetence. That was competence at corruption. But what you have here is obstruction. What you have here is a crime. You have federal law enforcement officers obstructing justice by destroying an investigation of criminal wrongdoing. We should not be talking about this as though the FBI was incompetent this whole time. We should be talking about this like the FBI committed a fucking crime of obstructing justice. And the FBI agents who are a part of this should not be disciplined for incompetence. They should be prosecuted for obstruction.
Now, again, this will never happen. It won't happen. But he's absolutely right about this. it's one of the most frustrating things that I've covered over and over and over when I'm talking about FBI corruption, right? Constantly, the narrative I'm told is, no, they're not corrupt. It's just incompetence. Constantly, that's the argument. So the easiest way I've found to deal with this is to just say, okay, that's worse. Because a corrupt person, a corrupt law enforcement agency, can still be expected to do the bare minimum when it comes to some of their functions. For example, a law enforcement agency that's corrupt may plant drugs on someone or may extort drug dealers in order to get money. That's true. That's what a corrupt law enforcement... But they're still probably going to prevent a serial killer, if they can, or an act of terrorism. An incompetent one won't. So we're supposed to believe that once more the FBI is so incompetent that all it took was changing an administration, and within a year they were able to find who would be the worst criminal on January 6th. Oh, sorry. The people we had at the premier law enforcement agency are just a bunch of incompetent fucking idiots. Okay? That goes right along with, well, the FBI, they're just incompetent. Kevin Kleinsmith, one of the top FBI lawyers, didn't know that you're not supposed to change evidence to the opposite of its conclusion when submitting it. He didn't know. Now, every second grader that knows the bare minimum about law enforcement would be able to tell you, if there's evidence, you don't change it to the opposite if you're law enforcement. But not the top lawyers at the FBI. They didn't know. And by the way, this goes across multiple branches. 51 former intel agents that said that the Hunter Biden laptop story had the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. They didn't know. They were the only people that couldn't see. Actually, this story looks real. They didn't know. All the healthcare experts that said that COVID couldn't come from a lab in China, they didn't know. Somehow they're worse. The ones that said that we should put COVID patients in nursing homes, they didn't know. They're just incompetent. Over and over and over, this is the excuse that's used. The same people that will make this excuse time and time again, incompetence, will then look at you and go, how dare you not trust the experts? How dare you? They're just brutally incompetent. They're not corrupt. What difference does it make? Sure, when it comes to prosecuting them, that might make a difference. But when it comes to the idea of why we should no longer trust these institutions and the fact that we should all be outraged and there needs to be significant overhaul, why would incompetence be a defense to that? And who fucking believes this anyways? And this is what we're gaslit, though, by so many of the commentary you see from the left and the Democrats. Prove it. Prove that they're corrupt. All the shit that I've talked about for years, the double standard of how we saw as aggressively as possible to the point of illegality that they went after Trump for the Russiagate shit, while they went as easily as possible after Hillary's team, including allowing them to destroy subpoenaed evidence and not charging anyone. Meanwhile, the FBI agent that was the on-the-ground one that was sort of in charge of the task force, Peter Strzok, literally wrote about an insurance policy to prevent Trump from winning. And they're like, prove it. Prove that had anything to do with it. Prove it. Prove it. It's just incompetence. They were just incompetent. Forget about that guy's statement. I mean, imagine. Peter Strzok could have put a statement out and said, I'm cheating to help Trump lose. I want Trump to lose, so we're going to rig it. And they'd have been like, prove it. Just because he said that, that doesn't mean that his actions were. The actions he took that were against FBI protocol and all that stuff, that doesn't prove that the reason he did those was because he was rigging it to help. Even if he said it. He talked about wanting an insurance policy to prevent Trump. Prove it doesn't matter. There were other people there. It doesn't matter. Constantly. That's their default. By the way, do they give that fucking grace anytime it's someone connected to Trump? Of course not. Of course not. Then it's different. Well, Trump's mortgage documents or his loan documents, maybe it was just incompetence on Trump's part. No fucking way. He knew what he was doing. Trump, When he's talking to Zelensky and you guys accused him of a quid pro quo, which actually he didn't offer a quid pro quo, maybe that was just incompetence. No way. We know Trump's corrupt. We know what he was doing. It's all so tiresome. Arguing with these people over and over and over. Just imagine for a second, it doesn't matter what you think. Imagine that historically there was a country that was corrupt from the top down. They didn't give a shit about the people that they served. So how would you find evidence of their corruption when all the mainstream places that you would go to, all of the authorities are in on the corruption? How would you ever do it? Well, the way we would do it is we would be like, look, you can see things that heavily point in that direction. For example, they illegally spied on the one candidate. They talked about wanting an insurance policy to stop him. They changed evidence to the opposite of the truth to go after him. They went as easy as possible against the opponents. They created new laws or massaged laws in ways that had never been done to aggressively go after this one guy. Right? And yet, so many of the people like you see in the left would go, no. Show me the FBI report that says they did wrong. You would never know, according to these people. Until the FBI itself says we're corrupt. They'll say we don't believe it. Even if Kash Patel's FBI investigates and says the last administration was corrupt, they'll say we don't trust Kash Patel. All right. I hear my dog whining, so I got to leave her outside. Your job by the time I get back up is to have the super chat goal at 35%. I'll only be gone like 2 minutes. But the poor girl, she must not have went into the bedroom with my wife when my wife shut the door or something. So I hear her scratching at the door. So I'm going to let her outside and then put her in the bedroom. So I will be right back. Get those donos in, and then we're going to cover some more stories. If we get to our goal, then I'll go over and debate if that's what people like. I'll be right back. Real quick.
This is the robnoerr Show. It's not the Noor Rob Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more. But maybe that's just because it was your show. But it's not your show. It's the robnoerr Show.
Oh man, so good, guys. That was so good. Thank you. What the sport? No. A new adversator in the crowd.
This is the robnoerr Show. It's not the Noor Rob Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more. But maybe that's just because it was your show. But it's not your show. It's the robnoerr Show.
That was fantastic. Look at that. Look at, so we can get this to 50%. We can get the new Rob song coming out. That's right. I said the new one. So $5 for average playing Dance Monkey during the downtime. Yeah, he's probably gonna read that. Chair is here, and you know how we all love the Avarice and Chair time. How you doing today, Chair? That was fantastic. He wants to hear the song too. He has yet to hear the song. Rob has yet to hear the song. I can't play Disney. I don't have Rob won't give me control of the Disney whip wheel. All right. Chair is a hot for today. Says no more Disney songs. That's for high value whip wheel spinning time, and there hasn't been a single whip wheel yet. I don't think. Oh, wait, Anthony has one whip wheel, so there's one whip wheel. Hey, you guys are letting me down today. Entertain us. Dance, monkey, dance. Are you not yet entertained? How about robnoerr? I can actually make a Disney version of the robnoerr theme song. That could be in the, maybe for a high enough dono, I might be able to make that possible. Quite possible. Just reading the chats here, see what everybody's up to. But the best show on YouTube is the goddamn best show on the internet right now. Can you show us a whole new world? Oh, he's back. Back.
All right. That's an excellent reference. Some more super chats. X-Type Gaming, thanks so much for the membership. Always appreciate it, man. Witzius, $5 says, friend of Rachel, Jay, Jamie, and Jason M. In case you're wondering, hey Ludwig under the pre-at rubric of YouTube. TVT becomes a member for 7 months, says Mods, Chat, and Rob. Thanks so much. Bandit $5 says, $5 for Avarice playing Dancing Monkey during the downtime. Thanks, Avarice, and thank you. Nate the Eagle $5 says, heard you may be doing call-ins on Sunday nights. Nice. Did you see Lion Brian was scoping hard on the show today after he called you and Andrew? No, I didn't see that. We're still opening that. I might be debating him at America Fest there in Phoenix, so we shall see. Balsonia, $5 says, for the best show on YouTube, thank you so much. Blasterbot, $5 says, what's that chair? Guy Gardner would beat Lar Fleas in a fight. Wow. And then Gremlin TV. Thanks so much for the $10. Really appreciate it. All right.
They're really busting my balls about the Larfleas thing, aren't they?
They're insatiable. Let's see here. Speaking of organizations in our government that are fraudulent, the GAO found massive fraud in Obamacare. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Here's CNBC talking about it.
There's a lot of issues within healthcare. As you stated, the GAO report was a request that myself, Chairman Jordan, and Chairman Kathy McMorris Rogers did last year. And the findings that came out this week are pretty disturbing. Just one Social Security number had more than 125 different policies tied to it. You have 59,000 people that they verified that were dead, and they were continuing to get subsidies to the insurance companies. And then if you look at just the 24 million people that's on the exchanges that everyone's talking about, roughly 12 million last year did not even file one medical claim because they didn't know they had health insurance. It's not that they didn't have medical claims, simply fact the insurance companies were being subsidized, but these people were automatically enrolled and didn't know. But when we look at healthcare, what we're discussing right now in Washington is how can we lower the cost of healthcare for all Americans? How can we lower the cost of premiums for all Americans? How can we create more access?
Now, of course, the Obamacare debacle is this. We were told that it was going to lower prices. It did not. Then they artificially kept prices down because they post a temporary subsidy and said it was because of COVID they needed to do it. Then when Republicans don't continue with that temporary subsidy, they blame Republicans for then prices going up for the shitty fucking policy that every single Democrat in office voted for. It's their fault. Now listen, there's a lot of criticism of Republicans. I'll criticize Republicans for other things on the opposite end. Remember when Republicans ran in 2016? If we get in office, we'll repeal and replace Obamacare. How'd that work out? So fuck them too. But the debacle that's the ACA and the fraud that comes with it, that's on them. That's on the Democrats. Now this is another thing that with all the money, all of the tax money that goes flowing into the coffers of the federal government, we're told repeatedly, no, fraud's very rare. The PPP loan bullshit, what was it? They estimate that some 15% of that, billions upon billions of dollars, were fraudulent, that went to places outside the country and other things. Oh, well, I remember debating this guy at Conaboy on it. Fraud's just something, it's baked into the cake. We have to accept some levels of fraud. But we're always told, it's not that high. Now the thing is, see, here's the deal. Illegals aren't getting any sort of taxpayer subsidies on anything. They're not getting welfare. It's illegal. They can't do that. Nope. It's only for American citizens. And now we see how programs are exploited, such as food care programs, etc., with the 72 Somalians that have been indicted. Actually, 70, and then 2 non-Somalian ancestry people. We talked a little about this on the show 2 days ago, where I was playing the clips of Keith Ellison. Stephen Miller talked about this just a while ago. Listen to what he says about this.
Based on what we have found so far, we believe that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare fraud in American history. We believe that we have only scratched the very top of the surface of how deep this goes. And you're familiar with all the scams with pretending that children have autism who are not in fact autistic, with pretending to enroll people in food programs when in fact nobody was ever enrolled, and engaging in massive fraud, lying, and theft and grift on a scale we've never seen before in American history. The total bill, the total tab for this is going to be far beyond the numbers we've already seen reported. We believe the state government is fully complicit in this scheme, and we believe that what we are going to uncover is going to shock the American people. Look, based on the records that we already have, and this is a significant undercount, by the way, 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. But that's likely a significant undercount of just how much of a financial burden the Somali refugee population is imposing on this country.
There you have it. But no, they don't get benefits. Yeah, Robert Whaley nails it. They don't get health care benefits. At the same time, taking it away from them would be inhuman. By the way, thanks, Project VO Pod, for the raid. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, $8 billion they're estimating it could be the amount of fraud, if not more. Turns out when you're cooking the books on everything through either incompetence or corruption, doesn't matter to me anymore. But let's not kid ourselves. It's definitely at least part corruption. Turns out when you're cooking those books, it's easy to make the data say anything you want. Economy's doing great. Economy's doing shit. Illegals aren't getting benefits. Illegals are putting more into the country. Illegals aren't committing crimes, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that's where we're at. Where was this story? Now, a story that connects both of these is corruption. Corruption from the FBI, corruption from these institutions. But shouldn't we trust the people that are running these institutions? Surely they would never be corrupt. DEA raid in Oakton. Former executive accused of laundering money for the cartel. Armed federal agents swarmed the Oakton home of Paul Campo, a former top DEA official accused of planning to launder over $12 million. Yes, that's right. One of the people at the top of the Drug Enforcement Agency is now accused of laundering money for the drug cartels. Paul Campo, a former Drug Enforcement Administration executive whose Oakton home was raided by federal agents on Thursday, is accused of agreeing to launder millions of dollars for a Mexican drug cartel, according to court records. Campo laundered about $750,000 for the cartel by converting cash into cryptocurrency and agreed to launder far more, $12 million in all, according to the criminal indictment. The cartel paid for about 220 kilograms of cocaine, which Campo understood to be delivered in the U.S., court records said. On Friday, a federal indictment unsealed in Southern District of New York charged Campo and Robert Sensney, an associate from Boca Raton, Florida, with conspiracy to distribute narcotics, providing material support to an organized engaged in terrorist activities or terrorism, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Beginning on December 2024, Campo and Sensei met with a confidential informant who was working with law enforcement officers investigating the cartel, which the U.S. Department of State designated a terrorist organization, according to the indictment. During a series of meetings with the informant, Campo and Sensei discussed money laundering, drug trafficking, and drug manufacturing, as well as providing firearms and explosive devices for the cartel. Sensei told the informant that Campo had been in charge of the DEA's financial operations, claiming that Campo had connections within the agency, including its top leadership, court documents say. Sensei also claimed that Campo could launder narcotics proceeds and could provide sensitive DEA information about sources of investigations. The indictment also said Campo and Sensei agreed to launder money for the cartel by various means, including converting cash to cryptocurrency and investing in real estate. Campo and Sensei also agreed to explore procuring commercial drones for military-grade weapons and equipment, including AR-15 semi-automatic rifles, M4 carbines, M16 rifles, grenade launchers, and rocket-propelled grenades. On Thursday around noon, a caravan of unmarked SUVs with Virginia and Maryland plates, driven by DEA agents wearing tactical vests, left Nottoway Park outside the town of Vienna and drove 2699 Gray Street in Oakton. Fairfax County real estate lists Campo's home being there. About 15 unmarked cars were there. Campo is the founder of Global Financial Consultants, which provides in-depth financial consultant services to financial institutions, according to his biography on the company's website. In that role, he attends quarterly meetings of the board of directors of Electronic Warfare Associates. He also holds a security clearance. Prior to founding this in 2016, Campo had a 25-year career as a DEA special agent and was appointed in February 2013 to serve as deputy chief of the Office of Financial Operations. In that role, he oversaw more than $17 million in DEA funding and was responsible for worldwide money laundering operations. Campo also represented the DEA before Congress, the banking industry, money services businesses, as well as the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Office of Foreign Asset Control, U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Treasury, and National Security Council. The indictment of the former special agent Campo sends a powerful message. Those that betray public trust, past or present, will be held accountable to the extent of the law. The alleged conduct occurred after he left the DEA and was unrelated to his duties there, but any former agent who chooses to engage in criminal activity dishonors the men and women who serve with integrity and undermines the public's confidence in law enforcement. Oh, well. Oh, Grid's rating. What's up, man? Thank you, Grid. Really appreciate it. But don't question it. Don't question them. Trust the experts, right? He resigned before Trump came into office. I wonder how all these cartels and shit are able to get a foothold with people like this. Sorry, this is a little out of order, but I wanted to show this as well. So you heard Stephen Miller say what? 75%? A low estimate of how many Somalian immigrants are on welfare. Amy Klobuchar says 80,000 Somali Americans in Minnesota work in schools, care for seniors, serve our community. This guy says only 58% of Somalians seem to work at all. So this is for the Minnesota Council of Minnesota's of African Heritage, Statista, which is usually a reasonable site when it comes to statistics. 60% of Minnesota's in poverty, but they'll have you believe that, but they won't be getting welfare benefits, even though they're in poverty. Here you have them on food stamps, over 40%. What percent are unemployed? 42%. Look at the average compared to Minnesotans. Why are we importing people from a culture that's fucking incredibly backwards? I talked about this the other day. The average IQ in Somalia, 67. That is literally, according to our guidelines, mentally retarded. Grid says a Somali man just raped a woman to death in the steps of a church in Nashville. He's 16 aliases, and police do not even know what his real name is. Looking for something. 1 second. Jeremy Kaufman puts this out. Oh, wrong. It's not intuitive to understand just what it means for Somalia to have an average IQ of 68. Let's break it down. With an IQ of 68 or below, the average Somalian, over half of the country, would be considered too disabled in America to be eligible for the death penalty. At this level, someone will struggle to understand the cause and effect of basic things. Even filling out forms would be hard. It qualifies as mental retardation. That's half the country. That's average. He continues. At one standard deviation from 68, we have an IQ of 83. Around 1 in 6 Somalians are intelligent enough to be a below average janitor. 1 in 6 have an IQ of 83. This is the level of intelligence of poor urban areas in America. So 1 out of every 6 will be qualified enough to be a below average janitor. At 2 standard deviations, we're at 98%, or 98 IQ, or roughly the average intelligence in America. Around 2% of Somalians would be as intelligent as your average high school classmate. It could be a clerical worker or a cook. At 3 standard deviations, we're at 113 IQ. This is approaching the territory where useful, creative, and STEM work can be done, such as engineering. This is 1 out of every 1,000 Somalians. At 4 standard deviations, we're at 128 IQ. These are people who come across as bright in your interactions with them, but still wouldn't be gifted. They can perform almost all high-status professions. There's only 750 of those in the entire country of Somalia out of 18 million. At 5 standard deviations, we're at 143 IQ. This is gifted and potentially genius territory. These are people who can invent, create, and contribute to the highest level. There's approximately 5 of them in the entire country of Somalia out of 18 million.
Hey, Rob, the chat seems to want the link I sent you.
Oh, okay.
Don't know goal possibly. Ah, dang, he blew it.
Raped to death on church sidewalk. Nashville freed her Somali predator. Muhammad, 16 times before he struck again. Nashville woman was raped to death on church steps by a 39-year-old Somali repeat offender with an uncertain identity who judges and prosecutor freed despite 16 prior charges. It's for paid subs.
Sorry, second link in the Discord.
Oh.
My bad.
It's all right.
I'm still learning back here, guys. Work with me.
All right. Let's see. No. Shoot. All right. Same story. Advocates outraged. Man accused of church's rape. Slew of previous charges were dismissed. A man who's accused of raping a woman outside a Nashville church who later died has a long list of offenses that have been largely dismissed. Fox 17 News has found he has a long list of offenses and spoke with victim advocates who said enough is enough. They're demanding the change in the criminal justice system. According to Davidson County Sheriff's Office, Muhammad is still behind bars on a $300,000 bond. But victim advocate Verna Wyatt said the suspect should have stayed behind bars for his previous offenses to prevent the accused rape. It's infuriating, she said. There should be an uproar, but there should have been an uproar a long time ago. There's at least 8 of his mugshots. There you see him. Quite the looker. Criminal court's clerk's office told me Muhammad has at least 15 arrests. He has 21 charges from 2015 until now. Court documents show these offenses vary from public indecency to indecent exposure. He was also charged with sexual battery in 2023. The charges filed in August 2023. Almost all were dismissed, and records show that the sexual battery charge was retired. That means the charge was put on hold but could be brought back. Muhammad was also a conviction for public indecency. Police department said on August 15, 2025, he raped a 34-year-old Megan Mayo multiple times in front of a church in a 2600 of Knollsville Pike when she was unconscious. Officers said he was taken to the Vanderbilt Clinic, where she died. The Davidson County Medical Examiner said the autopsy is not done yet. Attorney Ben Rabin said since his string of offenses mostly misdemeanors, harsher penalties aren't likely. He said they are more susceptible to getting dismissed and it could also not be enough evidence. The issue is the criminal justice system is really not well suited to deal with that. We talked about this the other night. The system is intended. It's not that it's not well equipped. It's intended. It is getting the actual outcome that it wants. This is the outcome.
The news have figured it out, Rob. They have the paywall line for more information. So when we can get that layout, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Have her.
Yeah. So we import people from a country that has an IQ on average that makes them literally nothing but dependents on our country if they come here, on average. Their culture is massively different. I forget the name of this guy, but he has a decent list here. And Wall Street Apes brings this up. Facts about Somalia. 49% of the population is inbred. The average IQ is 67. The IQ to be considered mentally disabled in the United States is 70. Over 98% of Somali girls undergo female genital mutilation. Somalia has the world's highest maternal mortality rate. Piracy in Somalia is main source of income. Somalia has no functioning central government. It hasn't had one since 91. They've been engaged in civil war for 4 decades, 40 years, and it's still ongoing today. They're one of the most corrupt countries on earth, almost always ranked in the top 3. More than 70% of the Somali economy runs on remittances from the diaspora. Minnesota has the largest Somali population outside Somalia. Somalia has the highest birth rate in the world with 6.9 to 7.4 children per woman. Somalia has never won a single Olympic medal in its entire history. They're home to one of the world's largest terror organization, Al-Shabaab, which, by the way, the largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. Charcoal smuggling in the Gulf states is one of Al-Shabaab's top revenue resources.
There's an interesting thing in chat. I didn't want to bring the guy's name up because I wasn't sure about the TOS, but it says He wrote, charges are often dropped because Somalis are told to act like they do not speak English in court, which means they must require a translator, and the system is completely backed up. So it's dropped because of the time it takes to get an interpreter, making it not worth pursuing financially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, that's something that you often see. Me no speak English, like when it comes in general to general interactions with law enforcement. And so you can see that the system's designed to be clogged up. Even when you talk to people about deportations of illegals, what they talk about is that the process, if it was done to the extent of what they want, would mean that you would have to give everyone like free legal services. They would have to have like months and months and months to prepare for their case just to be deported. And because there are so many illegals that have been left in, it would take us 30 to 40 years to be able to accomplish this and trillions of dollars. So therefore they're like, well, there you go. It's not worth it, so just let the people stay. So this is definitely something that they do, intentionally utilize the system. This is Saul Alinsky, Rule 4? Whatever the rule is, exploit the rule, right? So if the rule is that they have to respond to everything with a letter, then you demand 5 million letters. Then when they can't do it, you say, see, you're breaking the rules, and make them hold to that standard. So,
good to know. Thanks,
yeah.
Rob.
Yep. Again, we talk about this almost nightly now. Solzhenitsyn. For the thief to have a knife was merely a misunderstanding, but for you to have it is terrorism. Over and over and over, we import people that are likely to be criminals, that can't be productive members of society. Then we say we have to send them welfare benefits, etc. Then they say it's not happening, but it must continue to happen because it would be immoral if it's not. Then if they commit crimes, the judges just let them out over and over again until the worst happens. And then they throw up their hands and go, how would we know? So ridiculous. All right, some more super chats. Over on Rumble, Rocco D2. $1 says, name anything about the Hart-Celler Act that benefited the United States. Even migrant leader Julio Cesar Chavez knew immigrants lowered wages. What changed? Of course. We were lied to about the Hart-Celler Act and the demographic changes that it would lead to. We've seen the working class in this country suffer immensely ever since.
We got 50%. We got 50%, Rob.
Oh, did we? Real quick, let me Rocco again for $10 says there's literally no country outside the USA that can provide higher IQ workers in our region beside the USA. That's right. And yet what we do is we train people in the United States through our education system for jobs that aren't necessary in higher education. In fact, we're just training them to be fucking basically communists that hate people like me. And so then we have a lack of people that in the United States that are doing the actual jobs that need done in the United States. Then the smartest people in the United States, not universally, but what we see is if you really want to make money, you go into finance. You don't become an engineer. You don't become a doctor. You go into finance. That's where the big money's made. And so then what happens is we then say, well, we need people to fill these slots. So we import people, except the people we're importing, they're not doing the jobs either. Again, from the actual group in Minnesota that's sticking up for Somalians, according to their own numbers, 42% of Somalians are unemployed. Stephen Miller says 75% are on some form of welfare. So, yeah. Balsonia, $5 says, for the best show in the tube. Thank you so much. Blasterbot, $5. Thank you. Says, what's that chair? Guy car? Oh, we already read that.
We did this. What you're
yeah.
Don't pick on me.
I wanted to bring that one up again. Robert Whaley, $5 says, is it true that chair called Tampon Tim the R word? Drove by his house and everything. Isn't it funny? Tim Walz is out there saying, oh my gosh, Trump called me retarded and now I'm in fear because people come out to my house and yell it. Now, fuck you if you're driving to Tim Walz's house. You shouldn't do that. But when Tim Walz calls Trump a fascist, and then we have people shoot at someone like Charlie Kirk that says, catch this fascist, he never stops a second to say, like, well, is my rhetoric contributing to that? Vita, $2 says, Q Lipdard saying, Ray is a Republican. Yep. AJC, $20 says, I'm 2.5 years clean. And when I was in my program, it felt like most programs kind of entice people to relapse just so they could get back and charge even more money on your free health insurance. It's crazy. Yes. Obviously, the system is set up, right? That they don't want things being done through a non-pharmacological way. They don't want you getting healthy in that way, through diet, exercise, etc. That's why everything needs to be done with the pill. That's why they want you to relapse. Land of Man, $10 says, seems like I've been hearing about the government corruption my whole life. Will it ever hit some kind of tipping point where something significant actually gets done? Trump and Dodge has only chipped at it. Yeah, it's going to take years and years and years. It'll take generations before anything huge happens. Gravios, $20 says, at this point, how could you not argue that members of the Congress and our government in general are all being treasonous? How come no one is pressing that rhetoric? Treason's different, right? Like there's a very specific legal terminology for treason. And so before we get to the bar of treason, why don't we get to the bar of they're corrupt in the way that we should need to get them out of office, then they're corrupt in ways that they need to be jailed for crimes that are more easily provable. But yes, it's clear that they are selling out this country and they don't give a fuck about the citizens. Bandit, $2 says, looks like a photo negative, Doc Brown. Yes. And then Gravius, $100. Unbelievable. Says, you haven't read my last super chat. Did now. It says also, here's for the grift. Also, spin the wheel. Thank you so much. We will do that.
So before I start the 50% promise, all right, make sure soon to get your hat and your shirt soon at the robnoerr show. You had that call earlier today?
Didn't answer. It wasn't there.
Didn't answer. Okay, wasn't there. Well, soon to go.
Yeah.
So through much hard work and AI accumulation of Rob's life, of everything AI could accumulate, and then much testing at the Avarice Studios here, we have the first half of the music video without the video of the new robnoerr song, Coming to a Theater Near You. I forgot the new stream thing. Hold on, I gotta do my mistake.
Oh yeah.
All right, are you ready?
Let's do it. I don't know anything about this.
Yo, from the hills of Pennsylvania, rises a titan so bold. Robnoerr, the voice of the people, breaking the mold. College days at Clarion, debate in fire. First to qualify nationals, taking it higher. Ziegelmuller vibes, crushing opponents with facts. Wins stacking up like trophies, no turning back. Populist, conservative, anti-establishment king. Challenging corruption, making the swamp sing.
Ran for Congress in 19, fighting the elite. No fear in his heart, bringing the heat. Post a normal America, truth on the screen. Robnoerr was the legend, living the dream.
Going once, going twice, Rob's on the rise, debating political representing the flies from college halls to YouTube brawls. He's the boss, destroyed destiny, made him rage quit and toss. Bid high on the feet, no one competes. Feel like a repose within the Wilson beat. We need it from Cheerio to everything they go fast. Robnoerr's the master, making history last. YouTube warrior debating the woke and the blind. Then he melted down, left his ego behind. Up Chicana boy versus the man. Rob's logic like lightning cutting right through bad faith. Nah, he's pure fire and steel. Conservative coach, keeping it real. Conspiracy crusher, calling out lies from Biden scandals to election ties. Political victories in the hearts he ignites. Running for the people, winning the fights. Normal America's calling. Tune in and see Robnoerr's the hero, setting us free. Going once, going twice, Rob's on the rise, debate wins, political grins, taking the prize from college halls to youth to brawls. He's the boss, destroyed destiny, made him rage quit and toss. Guy in the feet, no one competes. Brian Shapiro shattered, foes in defeat. We need to get from Cheerio to everything they go fast. Robnoerr's the master, making history last. He's funny, he's charming, downright handsome and wise. Challenging the system, opening eyes. From Pennsylvania roots to the national stage. Robnoerr's the future, turning the page. No meltdown for him, he's steady and strong. Leaving opponents wondering what went wrong. So raise up your voice for the man who's unchained. Robnoerr forever, his legacy ingrained. Badass and brilliant, the king of the fray. Normal America rises,
That was amazing. I can't believe, like, listen, the song was very good. It was definitely, I feel weird because it is a glaze fest. Definitely true. But man, the lyrics, like, you actually put a lot of time into that. It's amazing. Can you have this available for download? Well, that's on Avers. Was that on your Suno list? Is that where it's at? Muted. You're muted.
Yeah, I muted so I didn't echo. Yeah, it's on my computer, and then I mean, whatever you want to do with it, right? It's your product.
We'll see. We'll download it. We'll get it on here. We can play it from time to time. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's very good. Now I knew you were doing songs for some other folks, but I didn't know you were doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our accumulation there.
It's amazing. John Rupp, $2 says, "Amen. That's a great song. Thank you. Glad you like it. I am a big fan. A lot of details about my life too. Went to Clarion, debated the national debate tournament, ran for Congress 2019. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We went through much accumulation for that.
That's great. No, it's amazing. It's not the same level as Smoky Man Bad. Well, you know, that's iconic. And that's only the first time you heard it. Once it gets to the vernacular of the stream, then you'll see.
Well, we did finish Avarice's song. I don't know if you want to play a second. I do have Avarice's now on backup, but or we could save that for more donos later.
Let's save it. Let's save it for another night because that'll be a good incentive. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get our whole album out, you know, EOD as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the duo Are We Not Men and Naughty Germ in another.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I gotta remember Achilles. I gotta keep remembering that we have Achilles too.
So real quick, Mangozi, $10 over in Rumble says, at least Tim Walz don't have to worry about being pepper-palled for being on his porch. True. And then AEI owned you. $10 says, Rob, ADD brain, sorry, Swalwell wants to be governor of California. That's a demotion. However, he was doing Feng Feng as Chinese spy. Seeing as how Gavin rolled out the red carpet for China, what's their interest? Well, they're globalists, right? And a lot of them have connections to places like China. Remember when Joe Biden, where his son was working for, in his own words, the spy chief of China? Yes, a lot of them are making huge amounts of money, even with countries that we consider adversarial. So, of course, I'm not surprised to see that sort of action. So, every time I say something, you think of the white Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you. I'll take it.
You know, the funny part is I think the song won over Aquino there, that my number one hater from today.
Ah,
yeah.
There you go.
Look at that.
So where are we at with the super chat? We're at 361. Reminder, if we get to 100% of the goal and if you guys want, I'll go over to Speakeasy's channel and do a little debating here tonight. I don't mind.
Yeah, I would like
otherwise,
to see that.
we got more stories we could cover here. Let's see. That's sort of the same one. Here's a good one. It doesn't have the source with. Hey, thanks so much, Premonition. Says $2. Everest, be proud of your gifts. Perfection. Thank you. I'm sure Everest thanks you.
Yeah,
as well.
I was pretty happy with that one.
Very good.
I had a lot. It was really hard to contain that today, just so you know.
Yeah, I did. You didn't even give a clue. All right, let's talk about the Afghan withdrawal here for a minute.
All right,
That's another story. Paul Sperry says, per just released DOD IG report, Biden forfeited 96,000 ground vehicles, 51,000 and change general purpose light tactical vehicles, 23,000 and change Humvees, nearly 900 armored combat vehicles, 427,000 and change weapons, 17,000 and change helmet-worn night vision devices, and at least 162 aircraft to the Taliban. That's what we forfeited to the Taliban. Now, we talked a lot recently about how the disastrous way that the withdrawal was implemented led to a bunch of unvetted people being brought in. But think of the two stories we just talked about. Taliban was a group that we were fighting with, them and their collaborations with Al-Qaeda. We had to fight for 20 years and spend trillions of dollars. Untold amounts of soldiers maimed, killed, etc. Primarily from working class families. Because terrorism's so bad. And yet, the Biden withdrawal then relied on that very Taliban to provide security, which failed and resulted in 13 service members being killed. Oh, by the way, almost all of those service members' families said that Joe Biden wouldn't even console them, and they were furious with him in the way he acted afterwards. And we now fund terrorism with the weapons that we left there. Or how about the billions of dollars apparently of fraud in Minnesota? Which makes the taxpayer the biggest funder of Al-Shabaab, another terrorist organization. But that's not a bug, that's a feature of the system. You see, because we give these weapons and money to these terror groups, so then later, the very intel agents could say, hey, now we need to go over there and fight these terror groups, which helps them funnel more money to the military-industrial complex. At this point, I'm shocked that any money's being spent on anything that benefits the U.S. taxpayer. The amount of fraud and waste is staggering. It's unbelievable. This is why Doge was something that I was so excited about. But where'd the will for that go? Remember, though, if you criticize, oh, it's just hating. I talked about that disastrous pullout forever. Read that story earlier in the week. We'll skip that. All right. Well, it's 2.5 hours. We've been covering a lot of stories here. So, our friend Gravios did request, with his $100 donation, that I play one of these whip songs. So that's what I'll do.
Whip time.
Yeah. Apologies to those of you. Now, hopefully, we might not do this a lot, just at least this once, though. Meanwhile, thanks so much, Department of Numismatics. $5 says disastrous pullout. That's what she said. I knew someone was going to call me on that. Oh, this piece of shit song. Yay. All right, here we go. Enjoy or not.
Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, whip, there's a way. Where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a way. Left, right, left, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. We are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, whip, there's a way. Left, right.
Oh, what a menacing laugh. Damn. All right, if you want to play any whip song, spin the wheel, it's $50 for a dono. I'm not ready. If people donate, that's fine. But I do have a little more. I have one more thing I want to cover here
Okay,
that
then
I
we
was
can
able
do
to fund. I was able to
200
fund.
if you want to hear that rap song again.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
All right. I want to play this. This is Ilan Omar. Listen to what she says here. Speaking of
Oh, you're
Somalia.
telling me, okay.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go to the back. You can if you want, though. We're going to cover this.
danger laga gelin karin marka waxaan reer Minnesota iyo Soomaalida meel kasta ku nool adeerkaya hadda mar dhow ka hadlaayay idinkaga hambalyeynaya sida aad iskugu wada duuban tihiin sida aad kulligiin u garab istaagteen madaxweynaheena because wuu u baahan yahay in kulligeen aan garab istaagno Soomaaliya waa Soomaali Soomaaliya waa hal walaalaan wada nahay dhulkeena lagama kala qaybsanaayo dhulal baa naga maqan aan raadsanaynaa insha Allah mar maalinta laakiin inta aan haysano hadda lama kala qaybinaayo marka waa mahadsantihiin dhammaan
I don't know I'm going to stop that. Someone sent me that, but I'm going to stop it because I can't verify the translation's correct. Now, what it said there, though, and it may be incorrect, was Somali is for Somalians only. I wouldn't be surprised if she said it, but I'm not going to focus on it because I can't confirm that that translation was accurate. But I will play this, James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe here in downtown Minneapolis at the scene of the crime. The person you're about to meet, Liban Mohammed, aka King Liban 1, boasts about the hundreds of absentee ballots in his car.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Wajida gaarigaygu waa buuxaa waxaas waa absent ballot salka yaala soo ma jeedin fiiri waxaas oo dhan soo ma jeedin waa buuxaa gaarigaygu waa buuxka yaala waxaas kullu waa Jamaal Cusmaan way fiiri 300 clear maanta soo dhacday oo Jamaal Cusmaan. Yeah.
There was video. You can see the video. There was a video out and about that he has the ballots in his car.
Right.
And talking about the only way you can win is with money. I was looking at them and they were not filled. They were blank.
Who is the one filling out the absentee ballots? People who work with, like Han Omar. Where do they pay the money? The minute we sign the thing, the election, that's what you get paid.
Money is everything. Money is the key in this world. If you ain't got money, you should not be here, period.
Marka odayaasha waa loo codsadaa. Waa loo codsadaa ha. Waana laga qaadaa. Waa laga qaadaa ha.
At the end of this street,
yes,
there's 3 towers called One Towers.
Okay.
And it's all seniors, and they took every ballot.
Every ballot. They just take them from them.
Every single ballot. They knock on the door and say, your ballots, come give it to me, give it to me.
They don't even pay them for it. They just take it.
No. And the ones that didn't vote on ballots, the young people and the women and stuff, they were paying cash. They were carrying bags of money the last 1 week here to drive people. So there's a vested interest, but we are victims of the system. They don't give a shit about any Somali.
2 in the morning, still hustling.
Who is the one filling out the absentee ballots? People who work with, like Han Omar and other candidates who work for them. They came to us to our apartments. They tell us that this year you're going to go for it. You don't go nowhere, you stay home, we will come and fill out for your absentee ballot. When it comes, we'll come and get it. You just don't go nowhere, you stay here. They fill out for us.
So that was from a couple years ago. Until they change ballot harvesting and mail-in voting, you're going to continue to see corruption, particularly in areas like that are immigrant-heavy neighborhoods, right? Because they know they'll be able to get away with it.
Well, even like when I went to go vote, I'm in a pretty blue-leaning area. There's like I think you're not allowed to like picket like right, but a certain distance or something, and they have like signs like almost right across the street heckling you before you get in, like even just walking in. So it's like, and I thought, even isn't there laws against how far away you could be from
Some
the
state,
voting.
it's different in each state, but yeah, they're supposed to be.
Yeah, some like they were like right there, like close enough. I felt like I could be like they're coming in hot, like
It's crazy. Over on Rumble, thanks so much, AEI again. $10 says Rob, Trump had a withdrawal plan for Afghanistan and Biden completely ignored it. Well, you remember it was reported that basically a bunch of one of the mainstream media outlets reported 3 people that were in the administration, the Biden administration, that was basically Biden had no plan. He didn't have meetings with anyone or anything of that nature. It was just sort of fly by the seat of the pants. And 2 days before the withdrawal, he's like, okay, make this happen. And people were shocked at the lack of preparedness. So yes, of course he ignored any plan that Trump had. I didn't watch Tim Pool tonight, but Milo was on there. Someone sent me this. We'll see if it says what it's claiming. Damn, if so.
I'm always a couple of days behind watching on the show because I've got stuff going on. But somebody tweeted today that Candace said that she believed that they were about to get a divorce. I think he was gay. I think he was gay. And
come on, you know that you do know that I've criticized. What? I'm sorry, Tim, but why would you even go there? To say something like that?
I'll tell you why.
No, the man's dead. You're calling now. You think he's gay.
That's when people can talk. That's when people can tell the truth.
I mean, fuck you. Fuck this piece of shit. I'm so tired of this. I even fell for that. I thought that Erica, I saw it so many times on X. I thought Erica Kirk was pregnant and that was pregnant when Charlie died. And turns out that's bullshit. Now I saw them putting today, she had an abortion. Charlie's gay. Erica killed Charlie. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And, Milo, the piece of shit, on his recovery tour, whatever the fuck it is. Oh, I'm ashamed that I was once gay, blah, blah, blah. How dare he fucking besmirch a great man like Charlie Kirk like that? Provide the receipts or shut the fuck up, asshole. It's outrageous.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really providing. The issue is right now is everybody's just throwing Hail Marys right now, and there's no receipts getting provided anywhere. It's hard to really believe anybody nowadays. Even and then when we do look for receipts, they're behind a paywall.
Well, and here's the thing, right? The Republicans allowed this void to happen. They could have been focused on Charlie Kirk and done things to aggressively go after the left that promoted this shit and to keep this story in the narrative, and they didn't. And so, what happens? There's a gap that's filled by people with all manners of fucking crazy conspiracy theories. That's what's happening.
I'm more frustrated. I know I might not be the most love for this one, but I'm frustrated that we didn't get to see the trial yet. I don't know what's going on with this guy's trial. I want to know what's going on with the shooter. I want to know that he's being brought to justice, and I have no information on it. And it really it grinds my gears that I don't know. I want to see this man in shackles. I want Iron Maiden level shame, public shame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's still too early, obviously, for the trial.
I don't understand that. I just don't. I'm an impatient asshole.
I know. Bandit, $5. Thanks so much. Says, the system is so broken, I want immigration shut off for 20 years. Not a single person. Any exception that opens the door for where we are today. Exactly. And then only Mr. Bill, $2 says, UD, why are you causing trouble again? Not joking. Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. I'm not going to cover any more stories tonight. We'll save that there's another story that I was looking at, but I'm going to save it for another night. So, here's what I'm going to do. I think that given it's Friday night, people may be out at the bar or whatever, I think we'll give you all an opportunity to get some donos in the next 15 minutes, but then we're going to wrap it up for the evening, which is perfectly fine. We hit the normal goal at 357. I just thought because of my mistake that I didn't stream last night, that I would stream tonight and hit double the goal. But it's okay if we don't. That's perfectly reasonable.
Well, now morning shift's going to make fun of night shift.
They will. Tomorrow I'll be streaming. I don't know what time. It might be a little earlier than normal. Probably around noon though, right? So we're looking for a call for a show around then. F it button $5 says Milo can be funny when he's owning someone you don't like, but he's a piece of shit falling out of another dude and into the mouth of Candace. Yeah, Candace. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely, what a brutal thing to say. And it's just, the guy's not here to defend himself. And so just to make these accusations, you better have receipts. I'm not saying you can't accuse someone who passed away of wrongdoing, but have receipts.
Yeah, for sure.
And like shit like that, like about, oh, he was going to leave his wife because he's gay. Like, fuck you. Let's see receipts or shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
It's just, even if it was true, keep your fucking mouth shut if you don't have any receipts.
Well, I don't
and it's
even
not
think-
true. It's bullshit. But
That
even if
doesn't
it
even
was.
seem- yeah, it doesn't seem really possible. He was a really Christian man.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's anything's possible, but yeah, it's stupid.
unlikely, excuse me.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. What am I doing here?
What do y'all call those that are both here for day and night shift? A true Norian.
Yeah. A Norbiter.
An orbiter.
Neurologically deficient. I don't know. Yeah, so
Norbot.
we'll be doing that show tomorrow. Now, hopefully any day now will be it's not on me, but the people will start releasing the names from World War there. That event, remember, is January 10th, so get your tickets. Other stuff that I have coming up, I got some debates that are possibly coming up here in the future, like at America Fest. Hasn't been confirmed yet, so I can't say anything. F it button says, you're the man for reading that. Sorry the actual shit posting, but these people are the absolute worst. No, I completely get it. It's infuriating. I absolutely, the treatment that Charlie Kirk, I mean, again, it's bad enough how the left treats Charlie Kirk and insults him, but then we have all these people on the right that's like besmirching his memory and going after his wife and shit. It's also grim. It's so fucking grim. If I died tomorrow, if I run for Congress and I get assassinated, there'd be fucking right-winger. I'm not big enough, but let's say I would win Congress and then get assassinated. You know damn well, of course the left would celebrate, but there'd be people on the right that would be making up all kinds of crazy conspiracy shit about me. And it's just so fucking bleak to think of it that way, that's where we're at. I don't know. But now let's see. Is there anything else that I don't think so.
For news, we do have news. So for those of you that want to help with the rest of this video, get your favorite robnoerr clip or picture in. I'm gonna have EOD make a tab in the Discord that says Avarice's like secret project room, and then like just put your favorite like robnoerr clip and or picture in there, so then I can AI generate it to the means of fun robnoerr music.
Thank you. Yeah. Daily Mail is saying, family of January 6th pipe bomb suspect is autistic recluse computer nerd. He is not a Trump supporter, family claims. Don't know. Of course, it wouldn't matter. You knew that they were going to say he was a Trump supporter. Roger Stone. That's funny. Yeah. What do y'all think? We could call it an early night. Now, just because I didn't get the donations to go over to Speakeasy's channel doesn't mean that I can't send you all over to Speakeasy's channel. So let's see who's over there debating as we speak.
I might just jump on their panel to spurg out on them a little bit.
There's a guy, I thought that was Tim Pool for a second, but it's not. Yeah, hop on, man. It'll be fun. I'm probably, what am I going to do this fine evening? Well, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I might go to bed because I do have to get up early and take my little man out birthday shopping for his work or for his school friends.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited for him. He's very pumped that he has friends like outside that we introduced him to. I think that's a big benchmark in a little guy's life, right? Where he makes his own friends. So he made these friends at his preschool. So I'm very excited to take him to this party tomorrow. So we got to go pick out a Godzilla toy. Now he may change his mind by the time we get to tomorrow, and it might not be Godzilla, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Let's click the raid for Speakeasy. There he is. Abe's on over there as well. So
they'll all like keep an arm's length away from me while I go up there.
Bandit $5 says, "Don't shortchange yourself. We can find your unaliver. Thanks, YouTube. They would rue the day they decided to pick that fight." Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just bleak though. I mean, my goodness, poor fucking Charlie Kirk. I mean, Sam Hyde was right, man. They want you dead, and then they want to mock you and your family.
Yep.
And that's really the truth. And like I said, you expect it from the left. But so many of these people on the right, I heard he was gay. Fuck you, Milo. You know? After how many people supported him after the bullshit, you know? We're at $390. That's 55%. Another $20 dono, I think, will get us to 60%. Yeah, God rest the soul of Charlie Kirk. So, someone during the outro here, get $20 in. We will massively appreciate it. I'll be back around noon tomorrow for, it's probably not going to be a call-in show. I've been doing like a lot of, it's up to you guys. What do you think? I could either do the call-in show Sunday night or the call-in show Saturday. I think Sunday night makes sense for a call-in show because maybe people that are usually busy during the day, so we'll get some different people to call in Sunday night. So I think I'll do sort of a retrospective where I look at like a story that I covered in the past and see how it's aged. Last week we did COVID. So we'll see.
Those. You like those little segments.
Yeah, it's nice. F it button, $5 says, expert sources familiar with the suspects thinking over the 2 decades say Trump may have been involved. Statements of fact have ruined information. Yes.
We'll tell Courtney we said good night and have a wonderful.
Yeah, go over, wreck some people. You're going to go jump on the panel with Speakeasy, so there you go.
I probably will. I probably will. I'm having too much fun.
Tell everyone I said hi. I'm going to get to bed. Remember, $20 dono should get us to 60%. So
yeah, if you don't get us to 60%, I probably will not go on the panel.
Oh, so everyone's like, don't send the money.
Yeah,
Avers just going to wreck them all and end the panel. So, all right. Thank you so much, Avers. Thank you to all of my mods. You guys are the best. Thank you to my editor, Black Hilk. Thank you to everyone who liked the video, who donated, who chatted, or that just watched. I appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow around noon. We'll have a good show lined up for you. And who knows, maybe I'll even do another show tomorrow night. We'll see. So, it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the channel tonight. If you did, give a thumbs up if you haven't already. Now, remember, we talked about Milo besmirching Charlie Kirk. You see all the shit going on with Candace Owens and him? Just take a moment to understand that not only was Charlie Kirk one of the most effective fighters we had, but he was a loving father and husband, and they're attacking him like this. Never forget that. God bless Charlie Kirk and what he did, and God be with his family. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Get that $20.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.